Hey everyone, Naked Shreds here, and in today's video we will be checking out SoundBrenner's most recent product, wearable metronome and our smartwatch, Core. And I will also compare it to the cheaper wearable metronome, Pulse. I actually did a review video on SoundBrenner's Pulse a couple years back. I only had a couple complaints about it, including the battery life and it having no screen, but I'm happy to say that those issues did not carry over to the Core. They made huge improvements on the Core and added a bunch more features that I think will impress a lot of you. Now let's jump into it and start off with a unboxing and setup process of SoundBrenner's Core. Alright, so here we have the Core and the wristband. The Core has a magnet so it can stick to the wristband real easily. Alright, so the first thing you'll see when you turn on the Core is a setup screen asking you to download the app to get started. Now if you pull this out, you'll see your accessories. And here is your USB charger. There is a magnet on the end of the charger, so it'll automatically attach itself to the Core and charge. So that's really neat. And then we have our tuner mount. In this little container, they give you stickers, very nice. Extra tuner mount adhesive. The social media plug and the giveaway. And we have our manual that explains how to set it up and give you a list of things that are all included in this bundle. So right now I am downloading the app. Alright, now we are on the app and it's asking what SoundBrenner's devices I am connecting. And then it asks what instruments do I play, so I picked acoustic and electric guitar. And then eventually it'll ask you to sign up and verify your email. And then we're on to connecting our Core. It asks if you're going to be wearing it on your left or right wrist so it can figure out which way to orientate the screen. Here we have our date and time. You press the bottom button to go through your features such as your metronome, tuner, decibel meter, timer, and stopwatch. Now let's go over some of the features of the Core. It has date and time. You can change the time to 24 hours if you prefer. You can connect the Core to your digital audio workstation on your computer via MIDI USB through your phone. So the BPM set in your DAW is shared to the Core. It will start counting when you start playing or recording. Vibrating metronome. Tuner. I'll go over how that works in a minute. Decibel meter, timer, and stopwatch. Smartphone notification is currently on iOS only and will be coming to Android sometimes this year. Now let's go over the tuning function. So this one I'm kind of split 50-50 on. I love the idea of it. The tuner works great, but I feel like the whole process of getting your tuner up and running could have been made easier. So here's how the tuner works. With your SoundBrenner's Core, you will get a tuner mount and you will have to stick that tuner mount onto the head of your instrument. You're going to have to leave it on there forever, or at least until you swap out your instruments. Then you will have to do the whole process again of sticking the mount onto the head of another instrument, holding it there for 15 to 30 seconds, and then use the tuner on that instrument. Now since the mount can only stick to the back or the front of the head, seeing the screen can be difficult unless you're tuning on a headless guitar. Now if they were to do a clip-on version of the mount, I think that would eliminate these issues. The tuner itself works great. The tuner is pretty quick and the accuracy is pretty spot on. The watch never got separated from the mount and the mount never got separated from the guitar, so huge thumbs up on that. The next feature the Core has is the decibel meter. It monitors decibel in real time. The range is from 70 to 110 decibel. And if you enable the decibel alarm, it'll alert you if you've been in a noisy environment for too long or when the levels start to reach up to a risky level. The Core has a time and date. You can start a stopwatch or a timer. And of course we have our vibrating metronome. When you open it up, you have the option to set your BPM, your time signature, and subdivision. You can connect it via MIDI USB through your phone to your digital audio workstation and share the BPM settings and metronome, so when you hit play or start recording, it'll start the vibrating metronome on your watch. I've only used this a couple times and only had a couple of bugs with it, like the watch continuing to vibrate even after I stopped the tracks in the DAW and not starting when I start the track from the middle of a song in my digital audio workstation. But from what I've read, this function is still in the beta stage, so hopefully this is something they can fix with a firmware update later down the road. If you're in a band and your band members have the Pulse or the Core, you can all connect to the same app and share the same tempo together. So I received my Core last week and I've been wearing and using it every single day. The only two issues I've ever had is that my Core disconnects from my phone and app pretty often, and the MIDI function can be buggy at times. The battery life has vastly improved over the Pulse, and that was my biggest complaint with the Pulse a couple years ago, was that the battery life can only last maybe an hour or an hour and a half. But with the Core, it lasts over 3 hours with using the metronome non-stop, or even days when you don't even use the metronome all that often. Now let's talk about the Pulse and compare the two, and I'll give you guys my pros and cons of each of them. Now the Pulse is just a wearable vibrating metronome. There's no fancy features on it like having a screen, decibel meter, tuner, but like the Core, you can connect it to the app and customize it to your own liking. And you can also connect it to your DAW as well. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of each. The Core has multiple neat features that will be really useful for a lot of musicians out there. It has a tuner, decibel meter, vibrating metronome, date, time, stopwatch, timer, and it's pretty much just a smartwatch, but with the added bonus of decibel meter and a tuner. It has a screen and it has better touch sensors. Battery life has vastly improved. It looks and functions like a smartwatch. Now let's talk about the cons of the Core. It's expensive. The tuner mount can be a issue for some people. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of the Pulse. Now the pros, there's only a few pros with the Pulse. One, slightly bigger, so you're probably going to feel the vibration a little bit more over the core. It is cheaper, it's only at $100, I believe, and it is easy to use. When you use it, all you have to do is tap to a beat, and after 3 or more so tapping, it'll continue on the beat on its own. And then you can slow the beat down or speed it up by using the ring. But the con is there's no screen, so you would have to connect it to the app on your phone and get the exact BPM, time signature, and subdivision that you would want for your pulse. Also, another con with this is it has a shorter battery life. The touch sensor can be pretty weak at times, and right now it doesn't even work, and I think that's because the battery is low. So that is all of my pros and cons of the Core and the Pulse. Now if you just want the basic metronome, you don't need all the fancy features like the tuner and the decibel meter, the Pulse would be a great choice. But if you want all the neat little features and have a smartwatch in the process, the Core would be the perfect choice for you. Also, a huge thank you to the guys over at SoundBrenner for creating a promo code for you guys. If you guys want to order yourself the Core or the Pulse with 20% off, go ahead and use my promo code NakedShreds and you'll get 20% off your order. I think I'm going to leave the video right there. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next video.